Anyway, I'm down to talk about whatever, but for now, let's do this. I want to at least get one season done before this tired man goes to bed. It is September of 2026, aka September of 1995. And the boys are ready to go. Again, we made the big signing of Brendan Shanahan. Got Joe Juneau at center, Pat Falloon. It's a really good top line. Obviously, we are still developing the rest of the team, but we had Shane Doan fall to us in the draft. So we got some grit. We got some hope. We got some optimism. I would be surprised if this was the first year that we made the playoffs, but a lot of grit. That's the big takeaway. Whole lot of grit and a Bulin wall in goal. Although I don't know if Hobby Bulin is exactly going to play the way I was, you'd want Nikolai Hobby Bulin to play, at least prime Hobby Bulin, but, what are you going to do? Let's sim to our first game. I do actually want to take a look around the league and see what's up. Cam, check out the VOD from earlier. I talk all about it, but fairly optimistic about the Bruins. Fairly optimistic. See, Jamnov keeps developing for Winnipeg. No major changes for the Jets. Did we? They have Tommy Salo. I don't remember if I looked at other teams. Shout out to Peter Klima, though, now on the Bruins top line. John Cullen, Steve Leach. Glenn Murray still stuck on the fourth line. Hate it here. Ray Bourque down to an 84. Still has his gold somehow, but Ray Bourque is in decline. At least he has won a cup with the Bruins in this timeline, but you have new goaltending, though. Grant Fuhr and Kirk McLean. Not bad. Not bad. All right, so some improvements for the Bruins. Buffalo has finally broken up the LaFontaine, McGillney, Howard-Chuck line. That's because we traded them Vyacheslav Kozlov. Still got Donald Audette. Sabres are still looking really good. Really good. Even their defense, man. Only one player with abilities, Doug Bodger, but damn. And then Dominik Hasek, still the Sabres starter. Doesn't have the abilities that he had before, but still there. Auction the bits. What happens first? Patriots return to their former glory. The Bruins win a Stanley Cup. Liverpool win the Prem. Or my favorite, the Meteor. Well, the Meteor is tough to predict. Right? I do think it could be a very, very long time before the Patriots are good again. I'm sorry to Drake May, but I can only believe in you so much after the Mac Jones experience. The Bruins are still a competitive team, especially after the Lindholm and Zadorov signings. I don't know if they compare too well to the likes of Florida still. Shout out to Ryan Smith, who's made the Hartford Whalers. Liverpool winning the Premier League. It's tough to say because your Klopp is gone. That sucks a lot. Try not to think about that too often, to be honest. It's depressing. Let's see. What happens first? I'll go with Liverpool winning the Premier League. I think that could happen first. That or the Meteor. But again, a Meteor is just totally unpredictable, you know? See, not too many changes here for Chicago. Still just a really good team. Belfour still their goalie. Okay. Quebec. 88 overall, Peter Forsberg on the third line. Jesus. So much for Garpenloff being there, too. Worst contract at first glance from day one of free agency. Joel Edmondson? My mind went to Joel Edmondson or Dallas spending the money on defense that they spent. But again, if I insult Joel Edmondson, I just come off as a salty Bruins fan for 2019, you know? So, oh, Rob Goodrow, I'm so sorry, buddy. We ruined your career. We did. North Stars, Yuri Letnin's getting better. Love to see that. Yakov Trennin's deal was a bit pricey, too, for Minnesota. That is fair. So, I mean, like Tim Shovelday, Mike Dunham now in Dallas. We're definitely getting some teams that are changing, but man, certain powerhouses are still looking like certain powerhouses. Wow. I don't know when the hell Detroit's going to fall off. I don't see it, especially because this Manny Christie guy they drafted is insane. Fucking yikes. Chris Osgood, Jim Carrey in goal. Not great. Not great. Edmonton's making strides with that top line. As much as our new team, or as much as our team, it is kind of a new team in some ways, as much as they keep getting better, I feel like it's going to be a long damn time before we're actually good. Gretzky's 34 now, but he's still a 94 overall. So the Kings will always be dangerous. Still got Rob Blake on defense. Even though this next draft is the last one with real players. Good Lord, Montreal. We might have done them a huge favor by trading them Ray Whitney. It made a lot of sense for us. 2 good prospects, 2 first-round picks, but Ray Whitney is going to fit like a glove for Montreal. Especially next to Vinny Damphousse. We may have helped Montreal stay that much more competitive for that much longer. Waugh has dropped a point, but he's still a 91. Jesus. Devils, Halik, Nichols, the best player in the mode, Claude Lemieux. I don't know how the hell Claude Lemieux ended up being like the best player in the game, but yeah, Stevens Niedermeyer still in New Jersey. Marty Brodeur reached a 90. Sweet God. How the hell are we supposed to compete? I mean, the Islanders have Derek King and Pierre Turgeon still. Ziggy Palffy on the 4th line. How the hell are we supposed to compete with this, man? Gosselin and Van Beesbrook. Shout out to her. Do you think Grossbeck selling the Celtics would be good or bad? It's if he even ends up selling them. Just because the team's listed doesn't mean someone's going to meet the price, although they probably will sell. Depends on who it's sold to, right? Like, that's the big question. Anytime you get a new ownership for a group, do they want to spend money? Do they not want to spend money? When they buy a team, and shout out to Leroy for the 21 months on the primer, by the way. Leroy, welcome back. It all comes down to like what that ownership wants to do. I hope it'll be good news, but you get a team like a Boston Celtics, which is just, you know, because of their history, a license to print money. Speaking of a license to print money, let's go Heat for the 11 months. Daniel Alfredson and Jerome McGinley in Ottawa. What a team they're building. That's tough to see. Remember when I didn't sign Kevin Hatcher? Woo. CFB 25 looks like it's going to be amazing. The recruitment looks very similar to NCAA 13, just an updated version. So, excuse me. Yeah, I was already excited as hell for that game, but now even more so. Let's see, Pittsburgh, Tom Barrasso, Ken Reggett. Pittsburgh is still absolutely ridiculous. Mario's only 30. Yager's 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. 23. How are we ever going to win? It's insane what some of these teams look like. Even the Blues, I mean, Brett Hull's only 31, Janny's 28. Jesus. Freaking Cujo in goal. How are we supposed to deal with this? Absolute, for your sake, I hope that works. Otherwise, you sound like a madman. Tampa, man, even Tampa's getting better. They are the ones that signed John LeClair. Wow. How are the Sharks ever going to win? A question asked to this date. That's fair. That is fair. Iafrate and Roman Hammerlick. You know, I said I didn't expect us to be bottom 5 in the league this year. I might have been wrong. With the way these other teams have gotten better. Toronto signing Mike Keane. Bottom 6 leaves a bit to be desired. I mean, Radek Bonk is still there, but they ended up with Marty McSorley somehow. Potvin and Damian Rhodes. Potvin lost all of his abilities. Vancouver, still very, very good. Pavel Bure's only 24. I might have to play this for so long for some of these teams to fall off, and I just don't know how long it's going to take. Oh my God. Paul Correa, Peter Sikora, Peter Bondra. What a team in Washington, too. We might actually still be one of the worst teams in the league. This is crazy. We signed Brendan Shanahan, and we're still going to be bad? The year limit is 25 year. I mean, I'm intrigued to see what happens this year, but man, this is a ridiculously competitive league. Now, it is worth noting, the one thing I forgot to show you, shout out to JD for reminding me in chat, the draft class this year, again, it is the final one with real players mixed in. The top 5 is not all real players, but this is the Pavel Datsyuk, Zdeno Chara draft. Now, you might be saying, oh, Pavel Datsyuk, he wasn't that early. Again, he was an overager when he was drafted. So it is Datsyuk and Chara at the top of this draft, and we might not need a top 3 pick to end up with one of them. Because, again, we are in the era of generated players. Yes, I wish this game had eras like NBA, and it was just, okay, here comes the 96 draft, the 97 draft, and blah, blah, blah. But that's just not how it works, unfortunately. NBA eras just ruins every other franchise mode because of that frickin' feature. At least for those that, you know, care about flashback rosters and experiencing things like that, which I do because this type of challenge is awesome. It is awesome. Hobby Boolin's hurt. Give me a second here. Oh, goodness. Weaker class than normal. Yeah, I believe you. Goodness, goodness. Hopefully EA gives us the option for a draft class. Oh, my God. Please. Please. Custom draft classes? I mean, that would be the way that we could replicate it nowadays, is custom draft classes for every year. Bad news. Or good news? I'm not sure. We are currently in a playoff spot through 24 games. The top 4 teams in each division in an 84-game regular season make the playoffs. We currently sit 3rd in the Smythe division. Anteater, what do you think? So we're going to have to finish below LA and Winnipeg. Yikes. Okay, we are actually better than I thought. Yeah, we are. Brendan Shanahan over a point per game. Aslan, no development or anything. What I wanted to check, and we said this would probably be the case, right? What I wanted to check were the player roles to see if anyone deserves the bump up. Ruslan Saleh is close. He won't be there yet. Valerie Bure is still a depth forward, so not yet. What about Eliash? Eliash still isn't ready either. That's actually good news. And none of our centers are ready. Okay, so we don't have to call anybody up. But even though we're playing John Madden on this team, we are still shockingly half decent. What's the ideal Mitch Marner trade? 8-year deal, $1 million per, sign and trade to the Bruins for a 6th round pick. That is the ideal Mitch Marner trade. Yeah, no one has to talk about the U.S. men's national soccer team either, because woof. Paul Sear gets hurt with a concussion. That's fine. Trying to trade for the 4th or 5th overall to get Sharon Dotsuk will not be cheap. Correct. But again, we do have those 2 extra 1st round picks from Montreal. So we will have play potential. But not having a lottery pick ourselves would really, really hurt our ability to trade up as Adam Deadmarsh gets hurt. Down in Kansas City, our AHL team, again, back-to-back Stanley Cup Calder Cup champions. Hopefully some of these guys help us win a Stanley Cup down the road. Kaloon, let's get you out of there. Deadmarsh back in with the oh-so-rare +4. We're going to make the playoffs, man. We are leading our... Oh, Brendan, no. Oh, Joe Juno, too. We are currently leading our division. Happy 1996. The Sharks are in first, while the Oilers have 7 wins in 37 games. We're going to make the playoffs. We are the 6th ranked team in the NHL right now. Technically 3rd on points percentage. We might be getting our first look at playoff hockey. Goaltending's been solid from Hobby Bulin, given the era. Berehowski and Pronger have been a phenomenal pairing. Pronger just keeps getting better. Pafaloon's been awesome. Brian Ralston's been awesome. Barnaby and Doan, Left wing side, Joe Juno and Brendan Shanahan rounding out that top line. Naslin's at a point per game. Centers, dude, Jeff Shantz. We're going to make the playoffs with Jeff Shantz as our 2C. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Let's keep going. I don't know what the hell we're going to do with this deadline. I can't imagine we're going to buy, but I guess you never know. Miroslav Shatan is injured. Never great. He is healthy already. Never mind. Turns out it wasn't that bad. I think it would have been Dodie Wood that was in for him. There you go, Miro. Worried about the AHL team. 27-11, 4-1. Whew. We're going to make the playoffs easily for the very first time in season 4. Shanahan Juno signings have made us that much better than I expected. We're 3 points up on Calgary. Vancouver very much in the mix for that top spot as well. Joe Juno is destroying worlds right now. Nothing else to do except sim to the deadline. We're going to make the playoffs. We would have to absolutely choke in the back half of this season. Again, top 4 teams make it. It's almost impossible. We'd have to essentially lose every game, and the Coyotes would have to win every game. We're going to make the playoffs. We are currently just behind Calgary for the division lead, but we are postseason bound. It is all but mathematically confirmed. We'll list ourselves as buyers. I mean, we'll see what's out there if we're going to make it. Oh, my God. That's what I've been waiting for. Wayne Grow. Ooh. Wayne Gretzky is available. Oh, my. Wayne Gretzky is currently available. Shout out to Joe for the gifted sub.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
We move on from Steve Sullivan. Elias might have to go eventually, but it doesn't have to be now. I mean, we want Chara and Datsuk as a bonus. I mean, that's the question, right? Like, either we go after Gretzky now or we still focus on the draft next year. Giving up Jason Allison isn't the worst idea in the world, although Todd White, you could argue, kind of the odd man out. AJ, what's up? Goddamn. Steve Sullivan, Todd White. Two good prospects. What if we use a second round pick next year? Sullivan, White in a second? What if we use a third next year? I get you don't want both players, but you're taking both players. Screw you. Another third? What about 2 seconds? A third, White and Sullivan. How is it 2 players for the same need, though? One's a center and one's a winger. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. What if we use Montreal's first next year? Our second next year? And the third? I mean, no. Would you even use for a 93 Sharks? No clue. All right. Well, it'd have to be White or Sullivan. Let's go for a defenseman. I mean, Ruslan Saleh. That's fine. Whatever. So Sullivan and Saleh. Doesn't make sense. It's EA. I know I should know, but still. Use our second this year. Our second next year. I mean, if we're going to make the playoffs, we might as well go for it, right? It's going to be expensive. Do I have a goalie with any value? No. Goalie values are horrific. If we use Montreal's first next year, our second next year, come on, even our third next year, 2 seconds, this is going to be expensive, man. You got to think about this. This is risking Datsuk and Chara and long-term success for a short-term great one. But it is Wayne Gretzky. Nice. Will this go through? What if we use our own first this year? It's not that valuable, even. The price is so expensive. It is so expensive. I don't genuinely believe this team could win the cup. Maybe they could, but they're not built to win the cup. They're built well, but not that well. It's too much. It's just too expensive. We could do it. Pelle Eklund just got traded. Like, there's no denying we could pull it off. Bradley Tucker, I mean, Tampa's still trying to get rid of people. Bob Probert, but he's just so expensive, man. He's so expensive. Definitely having a bit of a down year compared to what he's had previously. Yeah, I mean, Sullivan... It's too expensive, man. 1996 Wayne Gretzky. Can't do it. Can't do it. It's just, it's not worth risking our ability to trade up. To get Chara, to get Datsuk, and really have that long-term, sustained success. We got these extra pieces, too. Why do overalls keep getting higher each year? 2028, a third liner equals an 86. Because those player roles are decided on, like, how the average overall kind of pans out, basically. If that makes sense. Like, you know, if the average overall is like an 83, then the game's going to be like, all right, so an 86 is the second liner, and, you know, higher than that, yeah. That type of thing. We're going to hold off. As much as I'd love to trade for Wayne Gretzky, it does not make sense. Even though we are this good already. Carolina makes the big deal, a.k.a. Hartford. Pelle Eklund, Brian Scrudland at a 7th for, I believe it was Jeff Brown off to Vancouver. Adam Crichton to Philadelphia for a 2nd and a 3rd. Lubomir Visnovsky and Andy McDonald to Hartford for Yake and Keith Jones. Some interesting deals for the Whalers there. Will I regret not trading for Wayne Gretzky? That is the question. I think I do, but man, that was expensive. One more double check of player rules just to see if anybody should be called up here. Valerie Bure has not made it. Patrick Elias is ready. So Johnson, we are going to drop. Patrick Elias has made the team. Jason Allison has also made the team. Out of nowhere, Jason Allison, ready to go. So if we go best lines, Paul Sear ends up being scratched. Shanahan, Naslund, Elias down the left. Chris Simon on the 4th line. Got Juno. I'm actually going to bump up Jason Allison pretty quickly, I think. Barnaby's a 3rd liner. Doan's a 4th liner. Ralston's a 3rd liner. Didn't Allison have abilities? I could have sworn he did. Naslund, Allison, Ralston, Elias, Chance, Barnaby. Will NHL 25 be different? In what way? I'm always, I mean, if by different you mean better, I certainly hope so. All right. That's still a good team. I mean, shit, we just added Jason Allison as their basically own deadline pickup. Anybody that I'm worried about? Breland, Bates, Metropolit. We'll just run with the best players possible. I'm not too worried about Commander. Okay. Well, we know we're making the playoffs. It's just a matter of whether or not we are the division winners. And yeah, we have clinched a playoff spot literally the day of the deadline. Now the day after. We are playoff bound for the very first time. It only took 4 years, which is kind of nuts. But fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see. Todd Richards. Doesn't really work. And 44 wins. I mean, let's just sim it out. Let's do it. We know we're playoff bound. Of course, we just lost 8-1 to the Islanders, so am I confident? And we beat the North Stars 9-0. I have no idea what's going to happen. We did, unfortunately... Can you even say that we dropped the ball? I mean, the Calgary Flames went on an unbelievable run to win that division title. 46 wins. I can't even say we blew it. Calgary wins the division title. We will be taking on the Vancouver Canucks in round number 1. Flames and Kings. The Oilers. 8 wins in 84 games. One of the worst teams I have ever seen the AI build. And their team's not even bad. Snipe, have you ever seen an AI team with that few points? That's insane. That is outrageous. Would you consider low sim scoring trap season? Potentially, but it is fun putting it on high. It is fun. Although it is mid-90s now, we could definitely go trap. Could definitely go trap heavy. Then again, players in that era still did put up points. So, Detroit will play the Minnesota North Stars. The Blues will play the Hawks. Toronto and Tampa both miss out. Adams division will have Sabres, Bruins, Nordiques, and Canadiens. Ottawa was also dreadful, but not nearly as bad as Edmonton. The Rangers will play the Flyers. The Devils will play the Penguins. So we finished 6th in the league. Not bad. But the absolutely atrocious Edmonton Oilers are the stars of the show. And yes, we will look at their lineup outright. For us, though, the story of the year, the 2 free agent acquisitions totally changed the organization. Joe Juneau, Brendan Shanahan, both over 100 points, 53 goals for Shanny. I mean, I feel like it was the right move. It might have made us too good too quickly. I don't know. We'll see. But those two are unbelievable difference makers. Pat Falloon was great. Brian Ralston is probably going to win the Calder. 77 points. Naslund on 71. Jeff Shantz had a really good year. Matt Barnaby had a good year. Shane Doan, 16 points on the fourth line's okay. Eliash had 15 points in 18 games. What a monster. Allison had 6 in 18, so he didn't fare quite as well. We still have a way to potentially get Chara or Datsuk. It will be contingent upon a team wanting to trade out of the top 5, though. So, yeah, Pronger, Ozil, and Sperhowski all over 30 points. Again, we have a very defensive, physical defense. Goalie-wise, both over a 900. It's pretty much all you can ask for. Shout out to the Boulin Wall. We need to go look at Edmonton. For a guy who played over half the season, Martin Jelena, minus 23, was the best on the team. The worst, defenseman Vladimir Malakoff, minus 74. This team was dreadful, and the funny thing is, backup goaltender Bill Ranford was actually okay. Again, it's one of the worst AI sim teams I've ever seen. Like that's some draft of glory numbers right there. I don't know how they pulled that off. Throughout the league, Pavel Bure won the scoring title. We get to play him in the first round. That's great. Cam Neely was up there, LaFontaine, Ronning, and Adam Oates. Rounding out the top 5 in scoring. Obviously, a lot of guys had over 100 points, including Wayne Gretzky. Did he get traded? No, it was still LA. It was Craig Janney's logo that hadn't finished loading. Top goal scorers. 75 goals for Pavel Bure. Hull Neely, who, yes, has played another full season. Claude Lemieux and Dave Andrechuk as the top 5 goal scorers in 1996. Defensively, point leaders Steve Chason, Jyrki Lume, Tom Curvers, Brian Leach, and Doug Bodger. Also 33 goals for Al McInnes. Led all defenders in goal scoring. For the goaltenders, the winningest was Nikolai Habibulin. Of course, he played in most of our games. The shutout leader with 6 was Martin Brodeur, who has earned Gold Adventurer. Waugh was up there as well for the Habs. Save percentage king. Mike Vernon does it again. Snipe, we need to talk. Mike Vernon, the best goalie. And for the rookies, oh yeah, it is Brian Ralston, hands down. Ryan Smith, Anson Carter, Peter Sikora, Ziggy Palffy were up there. Aginla. This was his rookie year, but no denying. Brian Ralston. Going to be rookie of the year. He's insane. Honestly, it might be Hobby Bullen, because he was also in that conversation. So, no doubt, Shanahan, Juneau, that drastically changed our team. It got us into a playoff scenario. Again, we elected not to go after Wayne Gretzky at the deadline. Still trying to play it a little bit slow and steady, which we might live to regret, given the success of the team this year. Nobody else has graduated to being an NHL talent. Okay. Well, then the lines are pretty obvious. We keep that top line together, but we swap around Shantz and Allison. Shout out to fourth line center Ted Drury. I mean, I can see why this team did well, but not this well. Especially with that defense, 2 enforcers on the third pair. But we have made it. And now we get to go get our asses kicked by the Vancouver Canucks and Pavel Bure. So that's going to be fun. Let's go take a look at said Canucks. This 7-game series could be over very quickly. Peter Nedved, Cliff Ronning, and Pavel Bure. Scott Mellenby, Trevor Linden, and Jeff Courtnall. Tim Sweeney, Anatoly Semenov, and Jody Hull. Brian Noonan, Tony Hatch, and Bobby Smith. The defense, Jyrki Lume and Jeff Brown. Tommy Shodin and Yuri Slager. Sean Chambers and Adrian Aucoin. Their goaltender, Roman Turek, who is currently injured, so it might end up being John Casey. They're both in 82. Got a young Vinny Prospel as a scratch. Pick a pet: raccoon, possum, crow, snail, or owl. Crash, watch the VOD. I'd go with a raccoon because they're adorable, but then again, crows are smart. I'll go with the raccoon. They're cute. I mean, they're pests. They're menace. But they are cute. Little robbers. Our AHL team, by the way, the 2-time defending Calder Cup champions, won 61 games this year and will play a team that won just 32 games in the first round. That's insane. Has there ever been a larger win differential for a first-round playoff matchup than that? That is insane. Well, we've already looked at the Canucks. It is our first ever playoff series. Florida-Boston. Yeah, fair. Shanahan as our top player. They have us beat in every single rating. We're at an 89, 85, 81, so. Okay. Let's do it. We're in the playoffs earlier than expected. It is game number 1 on the road in the Couve. See what happens. First period, 1-0 Vancouver. It's Yuri Slager. Bruins legend. Yuri Slager. Fair enough. Fair enough. Bit disappointing, but fair enough. Second period, 2-0 Vancouver. Another defenseman getting the goal. This time is Shodin on the power play. And so far, this is going as expected. The only difference being who I thought would score for the Canucks is Brian Ralston has our first playoff goal. But Peter Nedved restores the 2-goal lead. What a season for Brian Ralston. Not looking good for game one. Trevor Linden gets in on the fun. 4-1 the final to kick off the series. A convincing win for Roman Turek and the Canucks. Yeah, this isn't going to look good, is it? This isn't going to be good. This isn't going to look good. It's going to be a time. Not going to make any lineup changes after one loss, though. We'll go to game two. We'll see how it goes. You never know. Maybe we can bounce back. First period. Okay, no, we're still screwed. Pavel Bure kicks off the scoring. They doubled us up in shots. You hate to see it. Second period. One nothing. 5-4. Goal for Shantz, 1-1. Goal for Semenov, 26 seconds later, 2-1. Ralston, 2-2. Ronning, 3-2. Doan, 3-3. Chambers, 4-3. Ralston, 4-4. Shanahan, 5-4. 8 goals combined in the second period. 4 of them were from the same face-off circle. We go to the third, up by 1. Insanity. Hobby Boolin, shut the door. No, we cannot. We're tied at 5. Oh, man. Overtime? Overtime. Again, we don't jump in unless it's an elimination game. It is overtime in game 2. The 6th goal for either side will be the winner. And it took less than a minute. Pat Falloon, I think like the last remaining OG on this team, is the hero. Goaltending be damned. 6-1. It's not the final score. It was 6-5, but we did have the difference maker, the 1 goal there. I was going to say 1 goal in the first and then all of that. We won. We're not going to get swept. Brian Ralston's insane. A little bit worried about Hobby Boolin, but we'll figure it out. We march, we move. It's a 1-1 series split. We did our job. We took a game on the road. We did our job, and we took a game on the road. Game 3. No lineup changes. Stick with it. Stick with what brought us to the dance. First period on home ice. 1-0 Sharks. Ted Drury. Theodore. Second period. Goal apiece. Peter Nedved and Brian Ralston. We continue to be incredibly dangerous shooting from the face-off circle. We are up heading into the third period. We won our first playoff game in our second try. Take that, Thrashers and Blue Jackets. And the once the Thrashers moved to Winnipeg, they made the playoffs and immediately got swept. So eat it. Oh my God, we might take a 2-1 series lead here. Nikolai Hobby Boolin stops 35 of 36. And the Sharks have a 2-1 lead. This team shouldn't be this good this early. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. It's game number 4. We have a chance to really put the Canucks in danger here. First period, goalless. Okay, shots were very close. Second period, not goalless. Jeff Brown, 1-0 Canucks. We go to the third. Still yet to get a puck past Turek in this game. Gentlemen, let's see what you're made of here. We need something. Anything. Please? With 2 seconds to go, from the face-off dot, Jeff Shantz. We're going to overtime. This man, named for the greatest style of pants in the history of time. You cannot get more peak leg wear. I knew this freaking thing wasn't going to work properly. There you go. You cannot get more peak leg wear than a pair of sick-ass shants. Look at those shants. Look at those shants. That's a great pair of shants. Shants may end up being the hero. Build the statue. Build the statue we need. Tyler, hello. And so far, so good in terms of how it's playing, clearly. Overtime, game 4. Will the Canucks tie the series? It was all for naught. Peter Nedved is the overtime hero. The Canucks tie the series at 2. Good game for Hobby Bullen, but the late heroics from Shantz ends in heartbreak. We'll go to game 5 back in Vancouver. Tear down the statue, right? Let's go for it. AHL series is already over, by the way. Maybe we did get swept. First period. 1-0 Sharks. He was called in chat Fat Balloon. Second period. The Mandish, Sandy Sojlinch, and Patrick Eliash. Up by 3, heading into the third on the road. Jeff Courtnall. Cliff Ron. Well, we have ourselves a game. And the Canucks have tied it. 3-3. We're going to overtime again. A 3-0 lead evaporates in 6 minutes and 4 seconds. Overtime. Each team has won in overtime in this series already. Sending out a missing persons alert for Joe Juno and Brendan Shanahan. 7, 6, 5. The Vancouver Canucks are 1 win away from the second round. As Scott Mellenby caps off the comeback, the Sharks blow a 3-0 lead and lose 4-3 in overtime. Back-to-back overtime losses. A chance to have this series pretty much locked up. We had the Canucks dead to rights. Shanahan, 2 points. Joe Juno with 3 assists. There's not one line. I know I'm scrolling through this quickly. There's not one line that's been, like, absolutely atrocious. Defensively, the top pair isn't working. Crazy as it is, we'll play Gord Donnelly up there with Chris Pronger. Daniel, that would be this draft. Well, it's a good thing. I mean, granted, we don't know what we'd look like had we acquired Wayne Gretzky, but it's a good thing we didn't risk it. It is Game 6. Our season is on the line. Again, it's our first ever trip to the playoffs. Back-to-back OT losses has pushed us to the brink. First period. 2-1 Vancouver. Cliff Ronning, Trevor Linden. Our goal by Shane Doan. Second period. Shantz and Ralston for us. Courtnall and Lume for the Canucks. They have the lead. Heading into the third, and it's not looking good. It's looking worse. Brian Noonan, 5-3. I said I had a feeling that it wasn't going to go well and that we weren't ready to compete. And that's the case. We definitely are not ready to fully compete. The Canucks win the series in 6 games. A very winnable series for us, but one that will hopefully serve as a learning experience moving forward. For the record, our AHL team did sweep Atlanta, so they will continue. The dream of the AHL three-peat is still alive, but let's get a look at our numbers here through those 6 games. Shantz, was outrageous. Drury wasn't great. Allison wasn't great because we knew the center depth was bad, and it was. Naslund was all right. Shanahan and Juneau, just 1 goal combined is not enough. Eliash, Chris Simon, the 4th line wasn't great. Yeah. Shanahan and Juneau, for as good as they were in the regular season, 1 goal is not great. Brian Ralston continues to be unbelievable for us, though. Only 1 point for Barnaby. You do have to wonder how many power play goals we surrendered just because we got a lot of guys in this lineup because we didn't expect them to really make the playoffs. We got a lot of guys in this lineup that take a hell of a lot of penalties. Great one might have fixed the center depth, though. Correct, but if we end up with Pavel Datsyuk, then long term,
I'm just trying to walk.
I feel like we're not doing too bad. Shout out to Thundo. I'm calling you Thundo. That's the right one. 12 pims for Donnelly. Well, that's what I mean, right? Power play goals against. We allowed 22 goals in the series. 5 of them were on the power play for a 72%. Yeah. The Juneau and Shanahan signings. Right time, but maybe also the wrong time. Because they pushed us to the playoffs, but we didn't have the rest of the team built up around them to actually accomplish anything.